Joe, Ole Miss versus Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. Ole Miss coming off the loss to Georgia in a really stellar game. Oklahoma bounces back after their loss to Texas. Your thoughts of Ole Miss and Oklahoma going into this one?
Blake, man, I really do not think that this Ole Miss defense is very good. I'm just going to straight out say it. I do not think that this Ole Miss defense is very good. And I think that this is a very troubling matchup for them having to deal with an Oklahoma offense, albeit with a still visibly recovering John Mateer. My biggest question mark coming into this game is how healthy is Mateer, and is everything going to be slowly looking more like normal before he had surgery? Blake, right now this season, there are two very troubling areas for this Ole Miss defense. 125th in EPA per rush, 131st in havoc rate, and they are 47th in EPA per dropback. They do not do anything well. They got ran all over against Georgia. They're facing an Oklahoma team that has trouble running the football. But Blaylock had an awesome game this past week. And I kind of wonder, was against South Carolina, another bad run defense. So I'm trying to just get at here, man. If Oklahoma can run the ball, it's lights out, because they've had a lot of issues running the ball this season. That's exactly why they won against South Carolina, is that Mateer was a little bit off. And he's not playing him his normal self. And then, boom, the run game takes over. And that was all it really took. I'd be curious to see if Ole Miss, how they play in this game, if their defense can improve, because it has to be better than it was against Georgia.
You better start putting some respect on this Ole Miss team. They went into Georgia last week and is a score away from beating that team. Do I agree with you that their defense is not good? Yes. They had a lot to replace. They had 4 defensive linemen drafted. They had an interior linebacker and Chris Paul that was drafted. They had Trey Amos, who's starting in the NFL right now, drafted. Yes, they had a lot to replace. They're not great. However, I'm going to keep saying it about Oklahoma. Could they beat Ole Miss this week? Yes. Joe, they can't run the ball really against anybody, and I think that I see a South Carolina team that's completely given up. I need to see you do it again. I got to see you do it again. You know why? Because I also saw a Texas team that could not run the ball, line straight up and run it right at you and punch you in the mouth. Oh, well, Blake, we couldn't score John Mateer. Okay, I get that, and he is getting healthier. But I got to be real with you, Joe. It's not – I know what I'm getting from them defensively. I know that they're not a great team defensively. Can you slow them down enough? And quite frankly, can you score enough points on them? Because what Ole Miss did last week against Georgia, I come away from that game feeling better about them, to be honest with you. I don't come out of it thinking to myself, oh, Ole Miss lost, same old Lane Kiffin. Shit, no. I come out of it saying to myself, shit, you better not let Trinidad Chambliss and that team get rolling. Do I think Ole Miss has got to clean some things up and drops from their wide receiver room offensively? Yes. But, Joe, I don't know if Lane Kiffin can go into Georgia and do it and give that team problems. And I know Oklahoma's been better defensively. This is the best offense they've seen all year, and it's not close. If you have a weakness, Lane is about to exploit it. You played Auburn. Offense sucks. You played a Texas team offensively. They suck. You played a South Carolina team that, by the way, is dead last in rushing, and they want their offensive coordinator fired. This is the best offense that you've seen all year. You want to know what you want to find out about your team? And listen, Oklahoma's number 1 in total defense in the country. They're 3rd in rushing defense. They're 4th in pass defense. They're 3rd on 3rd down. They're 2nd in scoring defense. And it's not remotely close to the team that you've seen and played this year. This is not a team that you can play around with. Joe, if they don't walk out of there with 28 points plus, they're going to lose.
I'm reframing the argument on you. This defense is not a team that you can play around with. This Oklahoma defense is not a unit that you can play around with, especially at home. I would argue that the number one team in the country in EPA per dropback is the first real challenge that Trinidad Chambliss has faced in his time.
Okay, name a team offensively that they faced. All those stats.
Wait, hold on. We can't do that. They're the number one team. Even if the teams that they played are so bad, they're all in the bottom 10 of college football, they're still number one. They wouldn't drop that far. They wouldn't drop that
because they
far
have.
off.
Okay, who are the quarterbacks that they've played and the offenses that they've played? I saw Arch Manning in your loss do things to your secondary that no one did.
He played an okay game against Oklahoma. We're acting like it was like he exposed them. The defense was on the field a ton in that game. Blake,
do you really think
you are underestimating the quality of this defense? And more importantly,
no, I'm not. I said if you can't score 28, then you're not going to win it. Joe, if Auburn with a Jackson Arnold who cannot throw the ball can move the ball on you at home, this Ole Miss team can do the same damn thing.
Obviously, but Blake, I'm not saying that Ole Miss is getting shut out. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. But Blake, we have a matchup here where we've got one team that has a significantly better defense than the other. There is a situation that if this did end up getting into a situation where it was close in the fourth quarter, I'm picking the team with the significantly better defense. Because you know what happened last game? Yeah, all impressive and stuff that you went toe-to-toe with Georgia. Georgia's defense has been incredibly mediocre, but what won them the football game is that they were just slightly better than you. So now imagine the fact that we've got this gigantic margin of difference between two defenses. All right.
They can't run the ball either.
Neither can Ole Miss. Ole Miss had 88 yards rushing against Georgia.
They had 4 rushing touchdowns. Joe, the game went that they were throwing the ball all
88 yards. Are we just ignoring that? They ran for 88 yards. They ran
the ball for 4 times and got 4 rushing touchdowns.
Cool. 88 yards.
Joe, they had an 8-yard rushing touchdown. They had a 9-yard rushing touchdown. They had an 11-yard rushing touchdown.
Good for them. They have good red zone production. They still couldn't run the ball when they had the lead.
Joe, you came in here and said they didn't run the ball, and the 5 touchdowns that they had, 4 of them were on the ground.
Like, they had the lead. They only ran for 88 yards. One could argue that part of what cost them is the ability. Yards mean nothing when you're putting
points up on people.
They ran for 88 yards. You're just good for them for scoring
touchdowns, and 4 of them came on the ground.
That's wonderful. But if you can't run the ball on every other situation, that's an issue.
If I told you that a team's going to get in the red zone 5 times, and in the 5 times that they got in the red zone, Ole Miss lined up and ran the football and scored 4 rushing touchdowns, you wouldn't say, how many yards do they have?
But does that completely are we just going to throw away the rest of their rushing production because of that?
But I also look at Oklahoma played the best offense they had all year that they faced against was Texas, and they pissed down their leg. Sorry,
John Mateer's coming off of surgery. We had this conversation. They played like shit because the kid playing.
Okay, do you really think that Jackson Arnold going in there throwing balls to Cam Coleman, and you think Lane's not going to exploit things on your ass?
I'm not saying that they won't
you don't
have
respect
offensive
this Ole Miss team enough.
You're right. I don't. Their defense is shit. Win. Their defense is awful. They can't stop anything.
If Ole Miss wins, you got to wear an Ole Miss shirt come Monday.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Blake, as much as we can sit here and say that Oklahoma can't run the football,
I thought I got you so pissed off that you would do it.
No, I'm not agreeing to that. Although I have a lot of coworkers who are Ole Miss people who might try to entice me into doing that. Blaylock had a great game against South Carolina. He's going to have an even better game this week.
No, he's not. No, he's not. That offensive line stinks. No, he's not.
Is Ole Miss's run defense suddenly just going to get better?
No, I don't think that they instantly get better, and I think they will be better in running the football. But here's the problem. I don't think that they will protect John Mateer enough. And Mateer's their running game. I don't think the run game comes from Blaylock.
What pass rush, though? That Ole Miss pass rush isn't even good.
Double-digit sacks. a season ago.
A season ago. He doesn't have it. If I remember correctly, in this, did he get a sack against Georgia?
Neither does Dylan Stewart. Does he suck?
Dylan Stewart doesn't have a sack this year?
I think he has like 2.
That's different than not having any sacks.
Okay, but he doesn't suck. He's halfway through the season, and he's not remotely close to double-digit sacks. Does he suck?
He has 3.5 sacks so far this season. No, he doesn't, because I argued that Suntarine Perkins' sack production was inflated, because I remember watching his tape and seeing that he was the fastest player on the field that was benefiting. He was benefiting from the fact that there were open lanes to the quarterback because attention was driven to stopping Walter Nolan and everybody else.
Oklahoma's going down.
The whole group. No,
Oklahoma's going down.
I can't believe that you just love to be the Oklahoma hater. So you mean to
tell me that the best offense that they saw, take the offensive performance out of it. Did you see Arch Manning scrambling on their ass? Yes or no?
He had a good game. He played better than he was supposed to.
And Trinidad Chambliss and Lane Kiffin Joe, let me ask, is this the best offense they faced?
This is the best defense that Trinidad Chambliss has faced.
That's not what I asked you. Is this the best offense that they faced?
No shit, it is. It obviously is.
And they're going to go in there and they're going to bend you over and they're going to spank that ass.
I can't wait for this one. We got to get to this last preview, but I can't wait for this one.
I've been trying to make you mad so I didn't have to get to this preview and feel sad about myself.